Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Baldwin 8021 Traditional Deadbolt. And it is comprised of a lot of different pieces, and I'll show them to you almost one at a time. These are the two cylinder assemblies. The exterior cylinder is this one, the one with the colored, with the finished plate already attached. This is the interior cylinder, and otherwise they're, for all intents purposes, identical, although you can't mix them. This has to be the interior one, the one with the screw countersinks. And I'm not going to go through every step of the deadbolt. The instructions are attached. The machining template is attached. This video will serve to just kind of give you some tips and tricks as I've installed many deadbolts and have drilled even more doors for deadbolts. So the inside cylinder and the outside cylinder are basically the same in what I'm about to speak about. You can see that there are graduations on the tailpiece lines. The outside line is for a door that's 2 1/4 thick. The inside line is for a door that's 2 inch thick, and the inside line is for a door that's 1 3/4 thick. And they're both like that. You're going to need to snap off this tailpiece for the proper door thickness that you're working with. No matter what, you'll have to do something to the tailpiece when it comes from the factory, because even the outside graduation is for 2 1/4. Unless, of course, you have a door that's 2 1/2 inch thick, then you might not need to do anything to it, but that's unusual. In my experience, you're going to want to be real careful breaking the tailpiece off down to length, because it's not meant to be grabbed with pliers and just twisted. This line is not nearly deep enough for the tailpiece to just snap off. You're going to want to come with some sort of long nose tailpiece and hold it this way, and then come with other pliers and grab it this way and snap it. If you bend the tailpiece, the performance of the deadbolt will be greatly impacted in a negative way. You won't, as the key is inserted into the cylinder and this tailpiece rotates, it needs to rotate on a very straight axis. Otherwise, the cylinder won't. The latch bolt won't be projected correctly because the tailpiece isn't spinning correctly. The inside cylinder assembly has the 2 holes for the screws, and the outside has the threads on the inside of it to receive those screws. These tail pieces have an offset to them, and I realize it's difficult to see in the camera, but they're not straight in terms of where they stand off at the base. That's very important because these tail pieces need to be nested together like that so that they are basically flat and in line. And if they were not offset inside of here, they would not nest together straight. And they need to nest together straight to go through the hole in the latch bolt, that rectangular cutout. They need to go through there. One's got to be on the bottom. Then obviously you can imagine that the other one comes through the top and fills in the rest of the cavity of the part of the latch bolt. So moving on to the latch bolt, this 8021 features a universal backset, 2 3/8 or 2 3/4, and that's achieved by simply, in the orientation that I have it now, like this part is always going to be on the bottom. This is currently set at 2 3/8. 2 3/4, you simply rotate the housing, and you can see that it pops out to a longer length. That's how this works. And then back to 2 3/8. The cylinder collars, this is a 402 finish, which is the distressed oil rubbed bronze. Comes with cylinder collars. There are 2 different ones. There's a solid piece, which is this one, and that's the part that goes on the exterior. Okay, that goes on the exterior, and that's so that this will actually rotate. And that's actually designed In my experience, if someone wants to try to break your deadbolt or break your lock and get in, if they can get a wrench around this collar, they can spin the whole thing and break it. But if that collar spins with the wrench, it's a lot harder to break this lock. The inside collar has a notch cut. There's a keyhole slot in the top of it, at least the male part of it. And the inside has that keyhole slot right there in the top, so that when this goes on, pardon me, those two pieces mate together like that, and it cannot rotate. The body, the threaded housing will not rotate on that. So installation is such that you're going to, per the instructions, and I'm not going to regurgitate the instructions in this video, you'll basically attach this assembly on the outside. You're going to have what they call the screw guide, this part, which will go to the outside like that. And by the way, the latch bolt has to already be in the door. That's already in the door. Then this comes in, the exterior part, and that will mate up just like that. And it will help keep everything put together for you. Then the inside cylinder assembly comes in through the inside hole and mates into the tailpiece assembly like that, although because the tail pieces aren't cut to length, this would be emulating like a very thick door. The tail pieces come together like that inside of the latch bolt. And then at the very end, once you have the two screws through the inside cylinder assembly, through the body of the latch bolt, through the screw guide, they will thread into the exterior cylinder. You can then attach the inside trim faceplate to the inside cylinder face here. Okay, that will finish that off very nicely. I obviously don't have it put together. There it is. Cylinder housing fits inside of the threaded collar, as we were discussing. Actually, the way that goes together is that this is a threaded inside piece, interior piece. This piece goes on, and this will nest into it real nicely. Then the exterior trim collar threads over it all. But before you thread that in, of course, your cylinder goes in. Okay, and then you've got it put together. Then your interior cylinder is assembled. And of course your screws would be projecting out of the back side of it, but they're concealed. And the only way to really get that off is to thread that off. This would come off. This would come out. And that's how the assembly goes. The lock also includes the strike plate, which is a typical 2 3/4 tall, 1 inch, maybe 1 1/8 wide. Inch and 1/8 wide, which is typical for a deadbolt strike. 2 3/4 tall. Yep, right on. Very important, it comes with a plastic dust box. That's when you do the preparation in the frame for the strike plate, that you can't see the inside hole of whatever it is that you've just chopped into, and it finishes it off very well. Underneath that assembly can go the security strike, and is intended to go. This large plate will fit underneath this dust box. Pardon me, I have that backwards. The security part goes on top of the dust box. Includes what looked like to be 3-inch screws, if not longer, for holding all that together. And of course, 2 Baldwin keys, which are a Schlage C keyway, which is typical for Baldwin. Again, like I said, instructions and template are available above the link to this video. If you have any questions on the Baldwin 8021 or any other Baldwin product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.